Hey there, Apaches. I'm Jessica Hendra, and this week Apache News would like to share with you a special episode featuring our completed documentary on environmental sustainability. As other countries take the first step towards a self-sustaining future, America has yet to address the human impact on our environmental state. As the next generation, it is our responsibility to preserve the earth we have, so that our children and our children's children will have a home. Without any further ado, APN presents our environmental sustainability documentary.
In the fast-paced setting of our lives, it can be easy to lose sight of the little things that keep us connected. But what is it that holds us all together? We are human, meaning we all share the same priorities and needs, like the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. Over 3 billion years ago, our planet developed a biosphere that has provided a commonwealth of resources to all of its inhabitants, recycling resources that allow all living things to thrive and grow. Because our planet has been able to provide resources since the dawn of man, we are lulled into a false sense of security of the seemingly infinite amount of resources our planet provides. But as generations pass by and as human population grows, our consumption of resources creates a larger dent in our environment. We clear forests to make space for agriculture, we produce the waste that piles up in landfills, and we don't really think about our impact. So it might be impossible to turn back the clock now, but it's not too late to try and reverse the effects of our actions.
What causes climate change is the burning of fossil fuels. That's the primary source. And ever since the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, we as humans have been finding more and more ways to burn fossil fuels and emit greenhouse gases. The most dominant greenhouse gas is carbon dioxide, or CO2.
Carbon dioxide is a naturally occurring gas that, in certain portions, is necessary to regulate the planet's temperature. However, in large amounts, it traps heat and raises the overall environment of our planet, causing climate change.
The main activities that release CO2 are probably things you can think of, including driving your car, flying in an airplane, manufacturing things, also electricity. A whole range of ways we've come up with to release CO2, and the more CO2 we emit, the warmer it's going to get.
In response to the rising threat of climate change, world leaders from over 170 countries came together to form the Paris Climate Agreement. Participating countries determined, planned, and reported their contributions to mitigating global warming. But unfortunately, just 2 years after its creation, the United States pulled out from this accord.
I was so disheartened when President Trump withdrew us from the Paris Climate Agreement. I felt that we gave up our leadership in the world. You know, the people of the world look to the U.S. as ones that will do the right thing, that will lead us into a better world for everybody. And yet, he took us out of there, and that led us to be one of only 3 countries at the time to not be part of the Paris Climate Agreement.
But why did we pull out of this agreement in the first place? Despite scientists having proven that climate change is human-caused and that carbon dioxide levels are at an all-time high, people still remain unconvinced.
We're in a really interesting time right now because we have a president, President Trump, who is an adamant denier that climate change is real or a serious issue. Mm-hmm. And we are also seeing an increase in the number of organizations that are actively trying to misinform the public. And a lot of these efforts are focused on young people, particularly in high school.
Just last year, the Heartland Institute, a research organization known for their advocacy that global warming is not a crisis, mailed over 300,000 copies of their book, Why Scientists Disagree About Global Warming, to science teachers across the nation.
Now is an important time to really stand up against this misinformation, against this backwards thinking that's coming from really the highest levels of government and very influential organizations.
Too much of something is never a good thing, and just as life has taught us that, science confirms it. While carbon dioxide is a necessity in our atmosphere, the more it builds up, the hotter our atmosphere gets. As humans continue to burn fossil fuels, the climate is projected to change for the worst. The smog will worsen, the ice caps will melt, and the abundance of hot, dry air will provide the perfect conditions for wildfires and coastal flooding. Unfortunately, California suffers a lot of these symptoms. To see what steps the government was taking to combat the changes in our environment, my team and I caught a flight to Sacramento to speak with a representative of the California Environmental Protection Agency.
The mission of the California Environmental Protection Agency is to ensure that all Californians have access to clean water, clean air, healthy environments, meaning limited toxics, and clean landfills around the state, and then also the best available science informing our policy.
As the 6th largest economy on the planet, California has the power to inspire other states and cities to follow in its footsteps. The Cal EPA has taken initiative to introduce new policies that will reduce organic waste and greenhouse gas emissions, but their work doesn't stop there.
We are very, very engaged in the international push against climate change. So years ago, California created and then signed on to something called the Under 2 MOU. And it's an MOU that is populated by cities, regional governments, states, and provinces who all agree to constrain our emissions to 2 tons per capita. Right now, California is at 12 tons per capita, so this is a really big ask to get to 2 tons per capita. So it's a pretty ambitious target, but something that we feel like we can accomplish.
In addition to policies implemented by political figures, Congresswoman Judy Chu has made contributions of her own.
So in Congress, I'm a member of SEEK, and that is the Congressional Sustainable Energy and Environment Coalition. There are 2 bills that I am very excited about and where I'm a co-sponsor. One is the 100 by 50 bill, and it's the main author is Congressmember Jared Polis, and basically says that we should have the goal of becoming 100% renewable energy by 2050. That would be, of course, a step in the right direction in ensuring that we combat climate change.
Despite the policies and the politicians stating that climate change is human-caused, there are still skeptics. But just because rain falls for a day or winters bring a cooler than normal breeze to our city, climate change is still happening, even if it might not be detectable throughout our day-to-day lives. If the scientists and the statistics aren't convincing enough, take it from the most influential activists, high school and college students. To get a closer look, we traveled to Pitzer College, one of the greenest colleges in America. Pitzer College is one of the first colleges to have created an environmental studies program, and the concept of environmental sustainability is deeply rooted in their core values.
So what does Pitzer College do really well in terms of water sustainability and water conservation specifically? I'm sure you've already seen our landscaping, and we're unique amongst the Claremont colleges in terms of xeriscaping and also native plants. People come from the region to see the Pitzer Arboretum, which is the collection of succulents we have here.
In 2012, Pitzer College, in cooperation with the other Claremont colleges, restored the Redford Infirmary and turned the surrounding area into a nature conservancy. The conservancy is right across the street from Pitzer and allows students to get first-hand experience with xeriscaping and water conservation.
And so we've got the 2 outdoor classrooms. Like I said, we've got a lot of little tables, chairs to sit around outside. And the thing with the outdoor classrooms is they both have solar panels on them, a solar array. And so this building, this site, is on track to be the first net zero energy building facility at the Claremont colleges. That basically means that all the power that will be used on site is generated from the solar arrays.
Everything that Pitzer has done can also be done in other places, like your home, your neighborhood, and your school. Greenscaping and setting up solar panels can actually be cheaper than using conventional methods of watering and power generation, and you're helping the environment while you're at it as well. But there are so many other ways that you can contribute to the environment, especially through volunteering.
Hi, I'm Marian Coensgen, and I work with a nonprofit called Amigos de los Rios, and I'm the Habitat Restoration Associate.
Amigos de los Rios is a nonprofit organization that aims to create a green network of parks and trails in order to connect communities with each other and to nature.
Every Saturday, we have what we call stewardship events, where we work on our projects, but we invite volunteers to also come and work on our projects with us. We're at Peck Road Water Conservation Park, so our vision here is to have this park be a very dynamic place for both people and for the local wildlife.
Other nonprofit organizations just like Amigos de los Rios also work towards the same goal. Tree People, the Sierra Club, Greenpeace, Heal the Bay, and so many other organizations all empower volunteers to take a stand in advocating for the environment. Whether it's coming out to plant trees, participating in coastal cleanups, or even campaigning for new legislations, there are so many ways for you to get involved.
There's lots of work to be done, whether it's just typing up or writing emails and sending emails, or working on somebody's campaign who's interested in seeing more parks for people. There's lots of different places for you to plug in.
Going green starts by making small changes in your everyday habits. If each of us takes small steps to make a change in our lifestyle, society as a whole will be making large steps towards a self-sustaining and eco-friendly world. And now that we know what the situation is, we can start working on the solution.
I encourage young people to find ways to talk with their parents, talk with their friends, talk with their other community members, whether it's in school. Also find ways to reach out directly to elected officials.
But we have to be realistic about our future. Those fossil fuels will not be around forever. We have to have a future where we can have an alternative that is indeed renewable.
Think about all the different ways that you walk around your day and look around and say, how can I actually reduce my impact?
Students really have to also do some inner work in terms of what drives them, what motivates them, and then how does that resonate with environmental issues. Because no one wants to necessarily be told, right?
Yeah.
Like this top-down hammer. But it's like what moves you, and then what can you contribute? Because then it's genuine, and then it's actually truly sustainable, because you can't burn out.